There was a lot going on inside Thundertown, John's camp, in that we have so many layers, and we were trying to build these canopies, these tree houses, similar to an Ewok village kind of thing, where we have these different wooden layers, and they basically have raised their camp up off the ground to be out of the way of the dinos.
We knew we had to design something that could possibly fit into a big action sequence, but also have something that makes sense why Nerva was having such a hard time to attack them and find their camp and kind of defeat these kind of so-called rebels. That was one of the things that, I think really worked out the best, and what I was the most proud of was just really expanding out the world to something that we haven't quite seen before.
So, it's really not that hard. Just draw and release. See? It's easy.
With Alasie, she sees Helena as this newcomer, but this respected combatant, despite the fact that she's also fairly young compared to the other people in the ARK. And that, for Helena, she really envies the fact that Alasie has this community and this place and these companions, people who love her and people that she can trust.
Alasie and Helena are both very capable characters. They are both, for different reasons, kind of on the outside of the decision-making that's going on within the village.
I think that they have that feeling of sisterhood, that they want to learn from one another, that they want to aid one another, and to bring them the lessons that they can.
So what's significant about this episode is that for the very first time, Helena's moving away from the character goal of just surviving. And now we're seeing a society, and no matter how small it is, we're seeing that there are challenges in terms of how these people are thinking about the ultimate threat that they have in terms of Nerva. And we're also seeing that there is a sickness, the swamp fever, that's moving through the village.
One of the best storytelling moments was really building John and Alasie's relationships, but it takes Alasie getting sick that John has to go on this mission to get this rare egg in order to heal Alasie, which is basically his daughter at this point. And when her life is at stake, he has to push himself farther than he's gone yet in order to save her.
Then only one thing matters. Tomorrow morning, the great bird will leave its nest, and then we will take the egg.
One of the things that I love about ARK is that it's about second chances, right? And we find that out with Helena, and with her flashbacks earlier in the first 2 episodes. And in this particular episode, we see John, and we understand that now here's another character who has a background, who has a past.
Heche wichaya chimpik da chasluaye. Hoe ashtahanchi. Oyate ki tokaya he wichawa ki da heche yelo.
Nita oyate ki el umpapi sniso. Sniseche. Ognash wichashawan wa shuchu trowayawa etaha glikile. Wichashawan leha wa shuchu charge yuki na wa shuchu iye gile. Ognash hokshila wa ihani ugnuni pi kuhe le shniolo.
For John's struggle in this episode, in his past life, in his history, he had the moment to choose between doing the right thing and doing the selfish thing. And he chose to do the right thing. He chose to go forward and protect his civilization. And it cost him everything. That, he wasn't able to protect his family. He wasn't able to protect, the rest of his people. And that loss, that there is no right choice, that you may as well make the selfish choice if it's not going to make any difference. You may as well protect the ones you love, breaks my heart.
The nexus of John's conflict is he sees Alasie, maybe even not consciously so, but he sees Alasie as representing a chance to make right the mistakes that he feels he's responsible for and not being able to protect his family in the past. And so he's given her a lot of his gifts. He's trained her to be a great warrior. She's the best archer in the entire village. And he does see that, but at the same time, it scares him that she is that capable, because it means that maybe one day she'll have to go out into harm's way.
Probably the most difficult sequence was that Act 3, the ending fight scene. There is so many elements happening and so many different creatures on screen at once. We actually do need to track them. So from one shot to the other, you need to make sure the models are correct. And as things are being animated, there's a lot of working parts and a lot of different people to make this animation happen. You know, someone's drawing every frame that's seen on screen, and it takes an army of people to do that.
We had a lot of kind of issues trying to just choreograph that out, even on the planning stage, from when it was written to when we were storyboarding it. And I think even when we got the animation back, I think there was still a lot of things that we asked the animation studio to adjust and to kind of fix, mostly because once we put it together and we're seeing it, I think we realized that there were some things that we had to kind of adjust, and I think that was one of the biggest kind of challenges for this episode.
Tracking all that and making sure things flow from one scene to the other and not be confusing. We want to make sure things flow and that the action is readable, but at the same time being completely chaotic.
Alasie?
Yuck. That tastes really awful.
In parallel to John's tragedy comes Annika, as a terrible object lesson to Helena. That Helena made the choice to do the right thing. She could have done the selfish thing and disappeared quietly into the night, but instead she broke open Nerva's entire camp and rescued the people therein. And this is how it all still turned out in the end. The people that she rescued still died, and still died because of Nerva. And so it's that horrifying moment of, if the moral choice means nothing, then what's the point of any of this? And I think that's extremely important for Helena as she becomes part of John's new civilization.
As this episode goes, Helena has realized that she has to step up in order to survive in this world. She's in this really savage land where it's either, fight or die.
What can we do? We shall find this camp. And then we are going to liberate it.